It's a good morning to the Gelding on a showery day in Melbourne, Gelding. And those showers, not only across the metropolitan area, they extend outside the metropolitan area to where I'm speaking from in the beautiful southeastern reaches of Victoria. I take it it's raining close to you at the moment?
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Yes, currently raining outside in Caulfield South, so expecting more rain today. And Professor, I was watching the football last night with your beloved Demons involved, and geez, it looks like a lot of rain coming from South Australia. So, yeah, let's hope. Well, off to the Dreamtime game tonight, so I'm wondering whether we're going to get that.
Well, rain's predicted for the rest of today, Gelding, and also tomorrow. So not going to be much let up. You better take your brolly and your raincoat with you tonight.
Yes, Professor. We'll be rugged up. Don't worry about that. It'll be nice and chilly at the MCG.
All right, Gelding. Well, Flemington races today, a 9-race card, and the first at 11:50 a.m. There's really no feature race. There's a couple of races worth $150,000 being the 3AW Sprint and the VJA Winter Championship Trophy. So I guess we can toss a coin to work out which one of those is the feature race.
Oh, well, I would say the Winter Championship, Professor. That's a benchmark 100 against a benchmark 90. Excuse my voice, Professor. But this Winter Championship's fantastic. Yeah, very, very good series. Good horses racing during the winter months for good prize money. So, look, I suppose today the only thing we've got in our favour is it's Flemington Racecourse. If there's a break in the rain, it should, it normally dries fairly well, Professor. But, yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens.
Track's currently rated a soft 5, Gelding, and the rail's out 5 metres. And I would say to punters, as we always say, keep checking the rating of the track, because with the showers and 9 races, I would imagine that if it's a soft 5 at the start, it won't be a soft 5 by the finish.
Exactly, Professor. And as we say, this rain can sometimes cause pattern of racing. Sometimes it's difficult for the horses at the rear to catch up on wet tracks, or alternatively, it becomes a bog on the inside, and it's easier to come down the middle of the track. So keep an eye on the pattern of racing. That's something we can't really comment on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Professor, for a race that's on at, say, 4 o'clock this afternoon. But, look, hopefully the track plays fairly.
Well, there's one thing we're hopeful of, Gelding, and that is that the jockeys pay attention to the pattern of race, the pattern of racing.
You're a very funny man, Professor. I'll look forward to those tweets during the day.
All right, Gelding, give us your 2 best bets for the.
Oh, don't, Professor.
I'm breaking you up, Gelding.
Oh, yes. And with the cold, it certainly doesn't help. My apologies. I'm going mid to late day, Professor. I lost race 6, number 11, Altavivo, I suppose you pronounce it. Trained by the Hawks, ridden by John McNeil. This horse, it should be round about even money. Look, very impressive win last start at Flemington. Last 4 starts, 4 wins, Professor. You can't really do much better than that, can you?
No, you can't, Gelding. That's excellent form.
So 4 starts, 4 wins. 1 start at the track for a win. So it's on the quick backup. As I said, impressive win last start. The Hawkses know how to handle a good horse. So my first tip is race 6, number 11, Altivo, Professor. Then an old favourite of mine's my second tip, race 8, horse 3, Pinstriped. The Street Boss, Professor. Didn't you say last week everyone wants a Street Box?
Yes, everybody wants a street boss horse,
But
Gelding.
that's for those that can't afford a schnitzel.
Well, everybody, not necessarily Gelding, because everybody wants a schnitzel and you might not be able to get one of those. So if you can't get one of those, even though you've got the money, you go for the street boss horse.
Oh, beautiful. Very good, Professor. Look, this horse won quite well at Sandown on the 15th of April. We tipped it the other week to win at Sandown. They've scratched it for this race. I think the Winter Championship will be a good target for this horse. It's had 13 starts for 4 wins and over $600,000 in prize money, Professor. So we will certainly be looking at race 6, number 11, Altavino. Oh, excuse me. And race 8, number 3, Pinstripe. And you like, Professor?
All right, well, Gelding, you give your voice a little bit of a rest there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going very early, Gelding, because I'm worried about how the track might deteriorate during the day. Look, I know it's Flemington, but if I get my 2 races out of the way very early, I think I'll be very happy. So race 1, the Jockey's Appreciation Plate, a 2-year-old race with set weights and penalties over 1,400 metres. In that race, Gelding, I like horse 2, Riff Rocket, coming out of barrier 5. It's had 1 start for a win, so 100% win and place rate. What do I like about the horse, Gelding? Well, can't go past the sire, American Pharaoh. Tell us a little bit. Well, I might tell us a little bit about American Pharaoh. Give your voice a rest, Gelding. It won the Triple Crown in 2015. It also won the Breeders' Cup in 2015, Gelding. It's won a lot of money in stakes. And the dam is Missile Coda, who had 13 starts for 5 wins. Not the same track record as American Pharaoh, but at least a winning dam as well. So it's won its only start at Geelong on a soft 6. So I looked at that well. And it won the race handily too. It came from behind. The threat, Le Zebra, likes to lead, and I think it'll probably get run down today. I had a look at it in a race at Mornington last month. It tried to lead the whole race and got run over the top of. So in that race, Gelding, horse 2, Riff Rocket. My second select, go on,
Can I just comment on that, Professor?
Certainly, Gelding.
I know a little bit about this race. I've been talking about it all week with Ron from Port Arlington, who has a small share in number 9, Optune. So I know the form on this race quite well. Optune has been scratched. The Hayes boys, Ron was quietly confident it would run well in this race, but it's been scratched for tomorrow in race 1, Professor. So that may be one to follow up tomorrow, Optune.
Well, I'll be looking to you for some tips for Sports Fan Radio tomorrow. So perhaps before you go out to lunch, you might have a look at the form guide for me.
I might have to look for the form guide to pay for it.
All right, Gelding, my second selection's in race 2. Before I get onto that, Riff Rocket's jockey, Jai McNeil, in good form, 12% win rate over the last 50, and a Chris Waller trained horse, Gelding. So that's not a bad combination. American Pharaoh sire with a Chris Waller trained horse.
Yes. At his 2-year-olds, he's won the Golden Slipper. So he's certainly on fire, Chris Waller.
Yeah. All right. Second selection, race 2, Living Legends Plate. A race for 3-year-old fillies. It's a benchmark 78, 1,400 metres. I like horse 6, Free Willed. Not Free Willy, Free Willed.
Well, you're in fine form today, Professor.
Oh, well, look, nothing like a little bit of humour with the racing tips, Gelding.
Beautiful.
At least if we're not successful, people can say that they saw a comedy anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Free entry to the comedy show.
That's right, Gelding. Free Willed. Hey, listen, we'll have to start charging for this shortly, Gelding, given the way the Professor's Parlay is going.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to seeing David from Morty Alec.
Yeah. All right. Free Willed, coming out of barrier 6, had 3 starts, always been in the placings, Gelding, 2 wins and a second, 67% win rate, 100% place rate. It's won on a soft 6 at Cranbourne, and then it won on a heavy 9 at Sandown Hillside. So we know the horse can cope with the conditions. It's up in class, but hasn't put a foot wrong so far. It won its last race going away by a length and a half. David Yendel's in the saddle. He's in career form, Gelding, 16% over his last 50. And one of the trainers of the moment, Gelding, Cindy Alderson out of Cranbourne, a career win rate of 12%, but over her last 50, Gelding, 22%, if you don't mind. That's up in the annals of, if she can keep that going, she'll be trainer of the year.
That's certainly a good rate. So, yeah, she's doing very, very well, Professor.
All right, so my 2, race 1, horse 2, Riff Rocket, and race 2, horse 6, Free Will. Now, let's turn to the very, 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 very successful Professor's Parlay.
Was that 7?
That was 8, Gelding.
8, all right. So what are we the last 11 weeks?
We're now 8 from 11, Gelding, or we're tipping at 72.7%.
You cannot be unhappy with that, Professor.
No. Last week, we were lucky with Giga Kick, a very good race, very good win. And we had Deligan's Rabbitohs, and I'm glad we weren't on them last night, Gelding.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they surrendered, but Rabbitohs last week got home, as did the Melbourne Demons. So the two teams I selected in last week's parlay both got knocked off last night, Gelding.
Lucky we're tipping today, Professor.
Well, I wouldn't.
But I don't think you would have tipped either of them.
No, not last night.
Not last night.
No, not last night at all.
I do like the tips that are coming, though, Professor.
All right, so let's look at today's Professor's Parlay. Let's go to Doomben, Gelding, because we both agree that the bet of the day is there. Race 7, horse 1, Zaki. Tell us a little bit about Zaki, Gelding.
What's there to say, Professor? He's won $10 million in prize money. Any horse that can do that is just sensational. It's come here overseas. Annabelle Neesham has its firing. Look, at one stage could have been regarded as the best horse in Australia, probably till Animo came on board. But this horse just does it season after season, Professor, and I don't know. For me, it's just a very, very good racehorse. As I'm looking for me Doom and Form Guide, Professor. Here we are. First up, ran second, then won again. McDonald aboard. It's $1 million race, over 2,000 metres. I think Animo will do me. 42 starts for 15 wins, 6 seconds and 9 thirds, Professor, and a lot of them have been in Group 1 races. So I think as we try to, for this segment, we're looking for a horse to win. Short round about the even money mark, but geez, nothing wrong with backing a champion horse, Professor.
All right, so that's race 7, horse 1, Zaki. And let's parlay that into the AFL. Tonight's game, Gelding, Brisbane to beat the Gold Coast. Brisbane currently 4th on the ladder. They've won 7 out of 9. They've got a very good attack. They're playing very well at home. The Gold Coast 11th. They've won 4, Gelding, but only a percentage of 101%. So their games are usually close. I don't think this will be close. I think Brisbane will win by at least 3 or 4 goals.
Oh, Professor, they're in fine form at the moment, and especially up there, as you said, in Brisbane. So the Q clash, though, they would like to be flexing their muscle. And I suppose with Melbourne losing last week, this is their chance to go a game ahead of them, which is very, very important. So I'm sure Chris Fagan, despite the pressure of the Hawthorn racism row, we'll have them all fired up for a good win tonight.
I'm sure too, Gelding. And let's parlay that into one of your favourite competitions in the whole wide world, the Premier League.
The Premier League.
Manchester City going for another champions position, Gelding. If they win against Chelsea, they'll take off the trophy again. They've had a terrific season. They've won 27 of 35 matches, so they've got a win rate of 77%, Gelding, and that's something I really value. They've got the best attack in the league, a plus 61 goal difference, and they're playing Chelsea, who've been very, very disappointing, Gelding. They're 11th. They've only won 11 of 35 games, so less than a third of the games they win. They've got a -5 goal difference. Manchester City home, too good. The punters don't like Chelsea either, Gelding. $12.
Wow.
If you want to back Chelsea, you can get $12. The other thing they don't like, Gelding, is the draw. Now, usually the draws are fairly reasonable odds, $6.
Wow. So everyone's expecting Man City to be celebrating tonight.
But at this stage, you can still get Manchester City $1.22.
It's unbelievable odds, Professor.
I thought so, Gelding.
I like it. I like it.
So it's Zaki into Brisbane to beat Gold Coast, into Manchester City to beat Chelsea.
All right. Sounds like a good winning day, Professor.
All right, Gelding. Well, you can't be with us tomorrow. You've got a dinner or a luncheon to go to, but Paul Deligan and I will be doing a special sports fan radio on round 12 of the NRL, and I'll be very interested to talk to him about why his Rabbitohs lost last night.
Well, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. I hope you get the question in, though, Professor.
Well, I learned last week, Gelding, all I've got to do is ask the first question and I can just sit back. It's on autopilot.
Put the slippers on and just smoke a pipe while Delegan's talks.
Exactly, Gelding. We should tell the viewers too that I will have some tips from you at the end of tomorrow's program for the bets that you like on tomorrow's race meetings in Victoria.
Well, as I said, Professor, just quickly, I'll tune in the first, which has been scratched today. So good luck for Ronnie from Port Arlington. And a little horse I've got to share in. Drop the mic, Professor.
Oh, yes. Where's that running tomorrow?
Sandown.
Oh, right.
So I've finally won the arguments with the trainer.
Oh, who's riding the horse?
Jamie Mott, who's riding the Group 1 favourite in Adelaide in Lofty Strike today.
Oh, he's coming back specially tomorrow to ride and drop the mic.
Exactly. And she has texted me to say that we will be pushing forward, Professor. So rather than flopping out in the back, and we're racing at Sandown. So I've finally got my way, Professor.
So you'll be heading out there. Oh, no, and you can't head out there tomorrow.
Exactly, Professor. So there's always one way she can stitch me, this trainer of ours.
Oh, goodness gracious, Gelding.
But, Professor, there's 20 horses in the field.
Good luck.
4 of them are emergencies. So, and we're at the juicy odds of $41.
Gelding, you'll be running on a bog, I reckon, if this rain keeps going.
Yeah, I think if the rain keeps coming, we may not be running, Professor. I reckon she's got that one up me. She might just, just scratch it.
The trainer has the last laugh, Gelding.
Oh, well, when you own 50% of it, Professor, these things
all right,
can do.
Gelding.
But we'll send something through for you in the morning.
Best wishes to your Tigers tonight, Gelding.
Well, yeah, an interesting game, Professor.
Yeah. All
Hopefully.
Right. Until next Saturday, and that's racing. It's good luck.